So all you need to do over the past few days is flip on mainstream media and see the warmongers that are on the company payroll all over the networks telling you why this is a total disaster in Afghanistan and why we should have never gotten out of there, why we should continue this horrible war, continue. And they make a compelling argument, right? Let's throw out some of the arguments that they make about why we need to remain in Afghanistan, right? You are unsafe, right? It all comes back to safety. Like George W. Bush made this argument, right? You need to reelect me, George W. Bush. Don't vote for that John Kerry guy, right? And they specifically sent out direct mail to suburban moms in Ohio, specifically telling them, you're going to be more safe with me, George W. Bush. Let me finish this war that we started. We've got to finish it. It's keeping you safe. Remember, they targeted the soccer moms who were concerned about safety. Now they call them the safety moms, right? These people are a voting bloc. And so if you can convince those people that you are unsafe by us leaving Afghanistan, that hits home. We're less safe if we're not in Afghanistan. That's the argument these warmongers are making. First of all, how are we less safe by leaving Afghanistan? The answer is we're not. That's the truth. We're not less safe. But Mitch McConnell didn't mind spouting some BS this weekend. He was on Fox News, and it does a rare interview. I don't see him doing a lot of interviews. But Chris Wallace pressed him on this question and challenged him about why the heck are we still in Afghanistan? Why do you want us to stay there?
Let's turn to the big policy question that you started with, and that is the decision to pull out.
He came out of his shell for a little while. Got some food.
Of Afghanistan in the first place. You've been very consistent. You opposed it when Donald Trump started the process. You opposed it when Joe Biden continued the process. And back when he announced that, yes, in April, he said, I'm going to get everybody out by the end of August. You noted the fact, as you did today, that for more than a year, not a single American had been killed in combat in Afghanistan. President...
You might not even think Mitch McConnell's alive.
I was just going to say, if he hadn't have blinked, I thought his screen was frozen.
Is this turtle alive? I mean, it's funny is like those big African turtles, Mitch McConnell is also 400 years old. He ate. The last time he ate was 1956.
He ate Dennis Kucinich.
Biden was asked about that this week, and he pointed out the fact that they didn't attack us after
Mitch, is it your nap
Donald
time?
Trump had made the deal that all of Americans were going to get out. Take a look at what the president had to say.
I'd have only one alternative: pour thousands of more troops back into Afghanistan to fight a war that we had already won relative to the reason we went in the first place.
You know what he should say is, my only other option is now pouring thousands of Americans back into this hellhole that we should have never been in the first place. And if I was president, I'd be slamming my hand on the desk. We're not going to do it. I'm not sending anybody else to die in this country. Can someone come up here and tell me why we're going to send more people, men and women of the United States, into this country to die so that all of these defense contractors can make billions of dollars off of this war? I'm not going to do it. Case closed. Press conference over. I am leaving. I've got other crap to deal with. So don't get your little crocodile tears about how you're now upset about the women and children of Afghanistan. Where were you for 20 years? We're not doing it. That's how I would have responded if someone wants to ask me that question. Shut up, reporter. No, go back to your network that makes billions of dollars off of war. Oh, CNN. The whole reason CNN exists is because of war.
Well, then how come no reporter is like, excuse me, if we care about women and children so much, why are we allies with Saudi Arabia?
They're not going to ask that. Yeah. And yeah, maybe I say that back to them, yes. And by the way, I'm ending that relationship. They're the ones that attacked us on 9/11. Why didn't we go into Saudi Arabia? No, instead we go there and have dinners with them. But we go into Afghanistan and destroy that country. And now we suddenly care about the women and children. So, Mitch, do you want to answer this question? Do you want to answer this question, Mitch? Can you think you can spit out a word?
Senator, does President Biden have a point there? If in April he had said, hey, the Trump deal is off, we're staying in, and in fact, we're going to beef up the number of troops, he contends we'd have been back in a full-scale war with the Taliban and unfortunately taking a lot of casualties.
It's totally not accurate. Once again, the president's off the mark. We hadn't lost as many as 13 people, which we lost Thursday, in any of the last 4 years. In fact, our casualties since 2014 have been quite modest, quite modest.
So that's what you are to these people. I know you lost your son or your daughter. It was just a modest loss. It was just a modest loss. I know you lost your 23-year-old son who wasn't even alive at the time to even know what the heck we were doing in Afghanistan, basically. I know it doesn't, but it was just a modest loss. Get over it. Get over your modest loss.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look at the sacrifice. That modest loss got you all this democracy.
Right. Yeah. It was a modest loss so that you, the American people, could be safer. Like you who live in Hamilton, Ohio, you are so much safer today because of this modest loss in Afghanistan. Do you feel safer at all because of us being in Afghanistan? No. What the hell? How am I safer? I am not.
Our foreign policy makes us way less safe.
It's total garbage. It's total garbage. We are not safer as a result of this. We are not safer. It's a total joke.
Lost more, I repeat, more of our military personnel last Thursday than we lost in any one of the last 4 years. So the violence has been dramatically reduced for American personnel. Remember, in the whole war, Chris, we have...
he brought up a good point there. Yes, violence for American troops has been reduced over the past few years. Well, we only had, how many troops did we have left there anyway? We had like 2,700. So it wasn't like a ton of people to begin with. So the violence against Americans has been reduced, but we have definitely increased our attacks. We've killed thousands of innocent people in Afghanistan.
Right.
No one wants to talk. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to talk about that. You know, when you're like patriotic, Trump-loving, whatever, or warmongering Democratic family member says, well, we need to be there. We need to be there. And don't talk about the innocent lives. They bombed us on 9/11. It's like, oh yeah, that 3-year-old baby like had anything to do, like that mom had anything to do. She's 17 years old that we killed. We blew up that school. What does that have anything to do with 9/11? Has nothing to do with it. But we can't talk about it. That makes us uncomfortable. We can only talk about the Americans who've been hurt. Horse crap.
Well, and we wouldn't die over there if we weren't there. Like we
Right.
if there's an objective, we should go in, we should do the objective, and we should get out. And war should be declared. It was never declared because there was nothing to declare war on them for.
No, in the newsletter this morning in our Afghanistan lead, I put the mess, however we titled the story, but I put the Afghanistan war and scratched out war and put conflict. Yeah, never got a congressional approval for it. Never.
regretfully lost a couple of thousand of our people.
We regretfully lost a couple of thousand of our people. For what?
That's very regretful. But
that's very regretful. You can see how regretful I am.
Afghans have lost 65,000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what point are you making here? We've lost thousands. They've lost 67,000. Mostly at our hands, by the way, through drone strikes.
They have been fighting, and we've been in the background helping them with counterterrorism and the ongoing training of the military.
Yeah, great job. We've done a hell of a job with the training of their military.
The policy was working, if you remember.
What the hell are you talking about? The policy was working? How? How, you freaking moron? In what way was the policy working? I'll tell you. The only way it was working is that it was enriching your defense contractor buddy friends. That's the only way it was working. The only way.
Remember why we went there, which was to keep the Taliban out and the...
No. It was not why we went there. It was not to keep the Taliban out. Why we went there was to go after Al-Qaeda.
And more specifically, bin Laden.
Exactly.
To operate with impunity so they could attack us again here at home.
Senator, I've got about a minute left. I want.
Okay, so I won't really push you on that issue too much. You know, I mean, you're totally lying, Senator. I mean, you're factually incorrect on a number of issues which I just laid out. And you know, people want to criticize Joe Biden for getting out. You know, I'm not. I'll criticize like the mess, you know, the messy end of this. Like, was there a safer way to have done this? Removing people more effectively at the airport? Absolutely. That's been a crap show. And he deserves credit. He deserves criticism for that.
Come on, man.
Sorry, Joe, it's true. I'm no Biden apologist. I'm an independent. Both Republicans and Democrats have futzed this thing up from the beginning. Amy Perkins, you know who you are. Amy Perkins sent me a funny email this morning, one of our viewers, and she said, you know, we had, you know, Democrats get pissed off at Republicans, and so voters get pissed off at Republicans, so they vote for the Democrats, and then they screw things up. And then voters get pissed off at Republicans, and then they vote for Democrats. You know, and I was like, when are we going to realize that we're voting against our self-interest by voting for either of these parties?
Well, and that's what I've said. Like, we're taking part in a system, an electoral system that no matter what, it's like Vegas. The House always wins. The establishment always wins. It doesn't matter if we get a Republican. It doesn't matter if we get a Democrat. Nothing fundamentally changes. And they've said it over and over. Romney's got caught saying it. Biden said it. They are only out for their donors. So it doesn't matter. We've got one party. We do not have a two-party system.
Oh, absolutely. You know, cable news. So cable news this weekend has had the warmongers all over the place. I mean, you've got Mitch McConnell, you've had General Jack Keane. I thought The Intercept did a good job breaking this down. They added some funny kind of dramatic war music behind it, but pointing out, like, where does Jack Keane get his money from? Interesting.
An ill-conceived, and I emphasize ill-conceived, a nightmare.
This is a national security threat.
Yeah, I love that. This is a national security threat, Leon Panetta. Democrat Leon Panetta. It's a national security threat. Yeah, look at that. They have undisclosed, and shouldn't they have to say this when they get on the air? We're going to go now live to Leon Panetta, Democrat, to get his take on this withdrawal from Afghanistan. Leon, will you tell us, first, we should disclose that you've made millions of dollars off the war. How have you made your money? Well, yes, that's right, Chris. I've made millions off of selling tanks and Humvees. So yes, I've made millions.
It should be treated like the end of a pharmaceutical commercial.
Right.
This drug may cause nasal bleeding, anal bleeding, eye bleeding.
Yes, may cause diarrhea. Leon Panetta may cause diarrhea. So here, look at this. This is, of course, General Jack Keane forced, and I love Harris Faulkner saying, General Jack Keane, 4-star general. Give me these accolades.
General Jack Keane, retired 4-star U.S. Army general, Fox News senior strategic analyst, and chair of the Institute for the Study of War.
He's the chair of the Institute for the Study of War.
I know war.
So, General, how can we create peace? Sorry, Harris, I don't study peace. I only study war. I'm here to talk about how much I like war.
Have you ever read a book called The Art of Peace? No.
No. Jack Keane is an executive chair of AM General, the company that makes Humvees. Oh, interesting. Why don't we disclose that? He's a 4-star general and also the chair of the study of war. And he also makes millions.
I think the administration made a terrible mistake, and in pulling our troops out and giving the Taliban the opportunity to take the country over, it's going to become a more dangerous place, threatening America, and the world's a more dangerous place.
Joining me now for more is General David Petraeus, who served as commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan and was also the director of the CIA.
Wait, the member of the CIA where they're trained to lie, like
Right, Pompeo.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wonder how he'll come down.
I would say that we should literally reverse the decision.
Oh, that's stunning. We should reverse the decision.
I said that I feared that we would come to regret this decision, and we already are. This, again, is a nightmare. There's no good outcome unless the United States and its allies recognize that we made a serious mistake.
We're happy to have back with us tonight the aforementioned Richard Haass, veteran diplomat under multiple presidents, longtime president of the Council on Foreign Relations, and an author of several books. His most recent work, The World, A Brief Introduction.
Oh, interesting. I wonder what he'll say about this.
I think an incorrect policy was selected here by the president, obviously against many of the advice he was receiving from the military and others. Well, by the time Joe Biden became president, I actually think he inherited a situation, Brian, which he could have lived with.
He could have lived with it. We should have just have lived with it, right? We should have just have stayed in Afghanistan for another 20 years and just live with it. He just inherited this crap show, this crap sandwich, that President Trump had started this negotiation with the Taliban and started our troop withdrawals, and we were going to leave. But we should have stayed just with a few thousand men and women and just occupied this country for the next 20 years. We should all just live with it, right?
Yeah, just like we're supposed to, there's a pandemic right now and nobody can pay their rent because they can't work or anything. Just, live with it. Like that should be the philosophy for everything. The government should be Joe Biden 2020, whatever, live with it.
Live with it. Right. Yeah. You're stuck with this crap.
We had 2,500 American troops, about 4 times that many allied troops. And this American presence provided the anchor for not just other foreign troops, but for the Afghans themselves. I really don't understand the logic there.
Okay, let me help you with this. So let me help you with the logic there. Why is the United States in a country where the people don't want us there, number one, and we've spent $2 trillion to build up their government and help them, their infrastructure. We pay the salaries of their military, and they don't want us there, okay? And so is the answer for you to live with it, to stay there? We will continue to put American lives in Afghanistan in perpetuity. And that's the arrangement that you want because you make money off of it. I mean, can we be honest here? Just come out and say it. Here's a woman. Here's Leon Panetta. And I love that, here we go with Leon Panetta.
Joining us now is Leon Panetta, the former defense secretary and CIA director, who, of course, helped oversee the successful hunt for Osama bin Laden.
With the Taliban now controlling Afghanistan, there is no question that they will provide a safe haven for al-Qaeda and for ISIS and for other terrorists to be able to reorganize, strengthen themselves again, and potentially use Afghanistan as a base for attacking not just the United States, but other countries as well.
Wait, I thought Iran was the base. Isn't that what they were just saying last year?
I don't know. I thought ISIS was destroyed, according to Trump. He eradicated ISIS. I thought Al-Qaeda was destroyed. Right? I mean, they're gone. They're all gone.
I feel like we're getting some double speak here.
Do you?
This is a national security threat.
I totally.
That's my favorite. This is a national security threat. Do you feel unsafe because of Afghanistan? No. The reason we were attacked on 9/11, we all know why we were attacked on 9/11. I mean, bin Laden was pretty blunt in what he explained why it happened. The base is in Saudi Arabia. Our presence in their countries. That's why they attacked us. I'm not saying that we need to, kowtow to what Al-Qaeda wants. But hey, when there's when there's people that where we invade other people's countries and take their land over and bomb indiscriminately, think those people are going to like that? Just saying.
Well, and a lot of the times it's holy land. It's sacred stuff. It's the equivalent of us going onto Indian burial grounds and this Native American burial grounds in this country and digging them up and stomping all over them. Like they hold a lot of those places over there very sacred and have for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And here comes this 200-year-old country, and it's like, we're gonna bring you democracy. So
yeah. We're going to win the hearts and minds of the people, as George W. Bush said. As Biden says, we're a force for good around the world. A force. I'm going to force goodness up your ass. I'm going to force goodness. You know what? You want to... By the way, who are we to tell any other country how to operate? Have you been anywhere else? With the worst healthcare, worst food supply? Come on.
Who doesn't like Twinkies, right? You like Twinkies? I mean, Twinkies, they're really bad for you, but I'm going to force one in your mouth for good because I know you're going to like it.
We're force for good.
Come on, man.
Exactly. Take this Twinkie and shut up. Take our processed food. Get as fat as we are.
I agree with Secretary Panetta, and during his regime, they killed Osama bin Laden, so he's very much involved in what is happening here. He knows the history and the past of it.
Whoa, right. Did he just refer to us as a regime?
Uh-huh. He said he was part of that last regime. Yeah, the last regime under Obama. The regime. That's what it is. A war regime.
He just left terrorist off the beginning of it.
So the argument, I love this argument, that you are less safe in the United States. You are less safe in the United States because Afghanistan we've now left Afghanistan. Okay? So you're less safe. When you go to Target in Hamilton, Ohio, or Missoula, Montana, you are less safe now because the Taliban is coming. Really? I think the reasons we're less safe is because of homelessness, an increase in crime. People don't have enough money. Our food supply sucks, and our prices of just about everything are going up. That's how we're less safe. That's how we are less safe, not because Afghanistan. Give me a freaking break. And so this whole argument that us withdrawing makes us less safe is laughable. Ron Paul was asked that very same question. Remember, 10 years ago, he accurately predicted on the floor of the Senate that we would be stuck there for another 10 years unless we got out now. Ron Paul, not Rand, Ron Paul. Listen to Ron in an interview just the other day on Kitco.
Why did you say at that time that troops should withdraw? What was your rationale for making that statement?
Well, we shouldn't have gone in it. We went in there under false pretense, although the president gained some authority to deal with the people who perpetuated 9/11. If I go back and look at that, I do not believe the word Afghanistan was mentioned in that authority to use military force. It was to deal with people who participated. And of course, the argument was, well, we think somebody passed through there and might have participated. But at that time, it was the Taliban that was in Afghanistan that we had to be concerned about. And the Taliban had nothing to do with 9/11. It was Al-Qaeda. And although bin Laden was in those regions and in that area, I think that it was a serious mistake to go. They had the authority to go, and if they said bin Laden was involved, yes, deal with it. But the amazing thing what happened is we went in there and more or less took over the country rather rapidly, and also cornered bin Laden. At the same time, there was a battle at Tora Bora, and all of a sudden, bin Laden slipped through United States fingers, and within a short period of time, he got into Pakistan. And over all those years, I didn't know for sure, but it was my suspicion. I said, I think you've just used this as an excuse to go into Afghanistan. He's probably over in Pakistan right now. That's where you should be. But I think a lot of what happened after 9/11 provided an opportunity for some of the authoritarians and the neoconservatives to accelerate their presence around the world.
Interesting take, isn't it? This idea that we went in and at the Battle of Tora Bora, he was right there. Like, we have the best military in the world and we can't get this guy in a mountain? Okay, so he slips out, goes over the border into Pakistan. And so for the next 20 years, We're there. 20 years.
Well, think about
it. He's not there.
We used bin Laden to get into Afghanistan, and then he left. We stayed. We used weapons of mass destruction to get into Iraq. Okay, they weren't there, but we stayed.
Right.
What was the story on Libya? Like, all these places, we have this excuse. There's all this stuff going on. Terrorism. And we get there, and then we just stay, and despite not finding the terrorism.
Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.